I hope he does. I hope he does.
Welcome, Caroline, members of your family and friends, your colleagues, ladies and gentlemen and invited guests. Nothing gives me more excitement than launching Caroline's scholarly work, Caught in the Act. The title, a cheeky or mischievous play on words, aptly describe what the book is all about. It's a page-turner. It is insightful, provocative, exceptionally researched, and a must-read for public sector practitioners, students of public administration, future politicians, academics and media. I'm also happy that more notable and higher profile members of our community turned down or avoided Caroline's invitation to launch Caught in the Act. I wonder why. Nevertheless, I'm glad they did, as they all missed an opportunity to steal a pearl of wisdom staring at them from under their noses. A chance to put on the table a plan for change. That pleasure is now all mine, and launching Caught in the Act, I'm doing so not as a representative of the community groups I am associated with or convene, but as a strident supporter of freedoms of speech, transparent government processes, policies, practices and procedures, what I call the 4 Ps, and a campaigner for open and accountability at all levels of government, including the lawmaking arm, the Legislative Assembly, implementation of the 4 Ps, the agencies, and the keeper of the law and justice, the judiciary. Now, I'm not a member of any political party and I carry no baggage. However, before I talk about Caught in the Act and part with some of my observations, I'd like to say something about its author, somebody I have only known for a short period of time, yet it seems that I've known Caroline for a lot longer. I suppose it's one of those rare and special moments where there is an instant connection and a professional and positive relationship is kindled. I should also point out that not too many people in this room would know Caroline's life's journey to this point, her working experience and in-depth knowledge, the challenges and hurdles of many of her varied interests and hobbies. Well, I'm going to tell you. And in any case, most people are nosy by nature and like a bit of goss. But the information I'm parting with about aspects of Caroline's life are much more reflected in Caught in the Act. Her passion, sense of social justice, fairness, equity, and importantly, optimism. Not all is lost. You see, Caroline Ambrus is far from an elderly, retiring Cornwall resident, a proud mum and a grandmother, an accomplished and widely exhibited local artist, and having the energy to establish artist studios, art galleries and lithography workshops in Canberra, Queanbeyan and Sydney. In the literary world, Caroline is no stranger. She has written 4 books on women artists, being The Ladies' Picture Show. Now that's interesting. Australian Women Artists, First Fleet to 1945. That would have been hard. History, Hearsay and Her Say, something that I shouldn't tell my wife. And The Unseen Art Scene. That's very intriguing. Caroline established her publishing and printing business, Irrepressible Press, in Cornwall, and has written and illustrated several children's books. Does Cornwall have talent or what, may I ask? It certainly does, abundantly fresh, cutting edge and entrepreneurial. Now you know that Caroline is an upbeat character and has seen life through another lens. faced hardship and, like most of us, heartache along the way. Her humour is dry, some would be right to say wicked. Yes, Caroline is a very positive social crusader, and I have no doubt she will have the energy to continue her community contributions till her last breath. I admire Caroline for writing an account of some deep and alarming sensitive issues. In this respect, she is very courageous. She is not afraid of using strong language to convey her assessments, lay out unashamedly her beliefs and value systems, and identify where the bottlenecks exist and ask the question why. This is what makes Caught in the Act refreshing. It is about real people living life-changing situations under immense personal stress, strain, and an uncertain future or outcome. I would also be right in saying that not too many people in this room tonight would know that Caught in the Act took nearly a decade to write. Why would anyone persevere? Most would live out the classic mid-70s Skyhook song, "Whatever happened to the revolution, they all got tired and drifted away." No, the answer is simple. It is a story that had to be told. And having done so, we have time to absorb the adverse consequences, findings, failings, and what some could rightfully say the injustices that have been exposed in meticulous detail. We also have a golden opportunity to put in place better, unambiguous checks and balances, and importantly, revisit the 4 Ps by putting the interest, needs and expectations of the individual, the voter, the ratepayer first, rather than the administrating powers and their stakeholders. We have also an opportunity to consider new policy models to remedy injustice when proven at the executive, agency or judicial level, and embark on reforming our institutions to be fairer. Ladies and gentlemen, Caught in the Act is a determined journey to expose the raw hurt of individuals and nod how hard it really is for individuals to get a fair go weighted against an often faceless and harassing bureaucracy tied to unclear, complicated, goalpost changing or policy on the run manoeuvres and sometimes incomprehensible gobbledygook of interpreting and legally applying the 4 Ps. It also catalogues the fallout when the system fails and the ripple effect goes beyond the aggrieved individual. This aspect is gut-wrenchingly brought home on page 86, and I quote, "My 2 youngest children walked and said, 'Dad, is this a bomb or anthrax?' It wasn't. It was simply a promotional magazine. But it got to a point where that was the effect on people, on our life." The book is insightful, suggesting that most people would give up or capitulate, even though many may be right on legal or moral grounds, even when the 4 Ps goalposts are changed. The executive, agency and judiciary have time, human resources, and well financed when it comes to defending itself. The aggrieved party or individual do not have these and are limited to where to go next. Elected public office holders, like ministers of the Crown, are not expected to know the 4 Ps intimately, but they are entitled to succinct advice from their agency or portfolio, what they involve, and are expected to act unbiasedly. What ministers do with the advice they receive is their choice. However, the buck stops with them. a phrase popularised by US President Harry Truman nearly 70 years ago. And if their ministerial actions and those of their advisor or agency prove to be wrong or injure a third party financially or otherwise, then they too should personally be liable, just like directors of a company. What makes Caught in the Act unique is Caroline's clever and wordsmithing and use of detailed footnotes and other supporting material to show how our democratic system of administrative and planning regimes that underpin the fundamental 4 Ps can be stretched, twisted, reconfigured, words or standard phrases redefined, and where significant evidence is not recorded, goes missing or erased, seems to suggest the aggrieved person or the situation never existed. With this playing out, I would not be surprised that Caroline may have rolled around Shakespeare's famous Hamlet line, "There's something rotten in the state of Denmark," when writing Caught in the Act. In conclusion, Caught in the Act is a forensic examination of a number of situations or case studies to show something is not right, rife with errors from top to bottom, leading to suspicion of motive. Caroline then moves on to infer that an injustice cannot be just swept under the carpet. Somebody or bodies have been wronged, and somebody or bodies have the responsibility to make amends, to take steps so that never happens again. Caught in the Act is all about the author's unconditional love for her community and the welfare and dignity of and respect for her fellow residents who have suffered in certain situations in their dealings with various public administrative structures, the executive, agency level and the judicial level. These structures, whose fundamental role and function are in the main, exist to protect them, yet sadly it sometimes fails them. In a modern society, this should not happen. This evening's launch is also a fitting occasion to reflect on our own journey of self-government in the ACT. On this coming Monday, the 11th of May, was the first sitting day of the first ACT Legislative Assembly. Now entering our 27th year on Monday, Caught in the Act is a timely reminder that much still needs to be done, and it is a benchmark of sorts on how we are faring as being a reforming and trailblazing cutting-edge innovator of governance practices. With ever-evolving democracy and governance practices, protection of its citizens matters. Thank you and congratulations, Caroline, on such a wonderful piece of research that should test the times and will be debated, hopefully, in universities and be used as a learning tool to strive for best practice, and that these incidences that you illustrated in tonight in that book never occur again. It's, to me, I've read it a few times and it's just appalling of what the bureaucracy can get away with, and I think in a modern society we should be moving forward and we should be demanding more of our politicians and more of the agencies that administer their policies. Thanks a lot.